Hello everybody, Eej right here, and like I promised when I was telling you guys my new schedule, my much more laid back, much more chilled out schedule, it is that time of the month. We are just 1 or 2 days away from the end of March. I'm going to go through some albums and some singles to me that are some of the greatest and just my personal favorite music that I have heard over the past month of March. So I'm going to start off with 3 album slash EP type releases that really did stick out to me as a listener. The first one that I'm going to talk about, and the first one I recommend everybody listen to, is the new Death from Above 1979 album, Is for Lovers. Not going to lie, when I say it is necessarily their greatest project, as of right now, it's the most recent one I've heard, so I have this one the most familiar right now in my head. I am probably going to go back and just kind of give the other ones a quick little listen. Either way, I think it is a solid album in their discography. I understand why there are people that are not as crazy about Is for Lovers. It does seem to be a bit of a transitional project. It's not as well-rounded, well-crafted as some of their other works. However, it does feel much more ambitious. There's a lot of production choices that are very messy, very raw, with a bit of electronic elements in there as well. Overall, I think most of Is for Lovers came across very well and very pretty genuine, in my opinion. Definitely an album I enjoy. The next one I'm going to talk about is the new EP from British band Do Nothing. It is a very art rock, very kind of even a bit of post-punk, but more art rocky than anything else. It's very ambitious, definitely a really solid EP from this group. Musically, I think that they are a really solid group here, and I really look forward to seeing what they do and how they build upon this sound. While none of these songs may necessarily be massively catchy or anything like that, I feel like they have a very interesting arrangements on all of them. The instruments sound very nice. Overall, I think Do Nothing is a very promising band, and if they can continue to make, EPs of Glueland's quality, if not better, they could easily make some of my favorite art rock of recent times. So I really hope that they continue to build upon this formula. And the last album I want to talk about from March 2021 is from Benny the Butcher, The Plugs I Met Too. Quite admittedly, this was the first thing I heard from him. I went back and listened to some of his other big songs, some of his other highlights from his albums, and from the most part, it's a relatively solid hip-hop album. I wouldn't say it is necessarily my favorite that I've heard in the genre, even in over the past few years. I think I have heard stuff that's a bit better, but just the execution on here comes across really nice. I think Benny sounds excellent here as well. And just a really solid mixtape from one of the rappers that is really putting out some of the most promising material. I really look forward to seeing where he goes next. Next, I'm going to talk about some singles that I have been really digging over the past month of March. Brockhampton Buzzcut. This is the new single from Brockhampton with Danny Brown. Really not much to say here other than the fact that it is a good song. I recommend everybody check it out. It fits pretty good into the Brockhampton discography. There's nothing too shocking about it, I guess, to say the least. But it's really relatively solid. Brockhampton at their best, doing what they do best. Really solid track from Brockhampton. Then we have Silk Sonic, a Bruno Mars, Anderson .Paak project with Leave the Door Open, a song that I really only recently got around to checking out. Wasn't really quite sure if I'd like it because I haven't been the biggest fan of what Bruno Mars has always been doing. But, it makes some pretty solid R&B pop out there. Definitely moving the genre, I think, the right direction in terms of the mainstream. Really interesting combo here, and I think they kind of feed off each other really well. Relatively solid pop track, in my opinion. Next, we have Lil Nas X, Montero, or Call Me By Your Name. Definitely another track that took me a little bit to really start liking some more, but I've listened to it quite a few times. It has actually grown on me quite a bit. To me, I have been waiting for Lil Nas X to consistently put out more music. Since the 7 EP in 2019, he's been relatively silent with a few singles here and there. This one so far being his best. A bit of a reggaeton influence on here as well. Also, the subject matter seems much more introspective, much more of a higher level than what I'm used to hearing from him, which is a good thing. And overall, it's a really just fun, playful track. His voice, his vocal processing sounds fine. Lil Nas X seems to be riding pretty high with this new single. I really hope that he could deliver with a promising project because the stakes are pretty high. Then we have a new one from No Rome, Charlie XCX, and the 1975, Spinning. This was an interesting track. It's really the first thing I've heard from the 1975 since their spectacular 10 out of 10 album, Notes on a Conditional Form. And No Rome is not a new collaborator. They've worked with No Rome multiple times before. I believe he's even present on Two Time. And Charlie XCX, I've felt relatively indifferent on, but I've yet to really be disappointed by her. And this, to me, overall, is a good kind of combination of all their strengths. And it just plays together to make a really solid pop track. Definitely one of my favorite, more, dance-oriented pop tracks I've heard over the past month. They all do a pretty good job. No Rome. It sounds like a No Rome song, but I think it's pretty good. Then we have Laura Less with Haunted. Laura Less of 100 Gex fame. Haunted is the new single, the debut solo single of her career, and I got to admit, it is pretty good. I regret giving them a bad score. I really am on the verge of going through and deleting some of my old videos because I just didn't even try. I mean, now that I've actually revisited 100 Gex more, I really do appreciate them a lot more, and Laura Less seems to be really powerful on this track with an excellent hook, just excellent power and raw energy to it with a pretty solid beat, a really good 8-bit sounding beat. I love it. And then the last song we got is one that I believe was released today with Wavves' brand new single, Sinking Feeling, one that I was not expecting. I've talked about Wavves on this channel before, and Sinking Feeling is a huge shift in sound for them, but a welcome one. The sort of desert rocky, very twangy, slower, and more melodic side of this song represents a side that I've never really heard Wavves and Nathan Williams really dive into. I'm not gonna lie, it was off-putting at first, but I could say it's really good, and I really hope that Nathan Williams continues to experiment like this a little bit, because I feel like whatever he's doing right now, he's doing right, and it's unique. It's not the most, groundbreaking song I've ever heard, but if he can make an album of this style, I'm down for it. With that being said, that is that's some of my favorite new music that has been released over the past month. I like doing this method much more. It means they only have to do it once a month. And I'm talking about stuff I like. I'm not spreading negativity by spending time talking about stuff I don't like. All that being said, I hope you guys really all enjoy these songs. They're all pretty good, and I hope you guys like the 3 albums I mentioned. That being said, goodbye, peace out.